Welcome to Sports Bites. With your host, Chris Joseph. Are you a sports fanatic who loves the thrill of the game and the delicious food that accompanies it?
And then they had chicken and fingers, exotic chicken fingers.
Join us as we dive into the world of sports and the delectable bites that make the experience even better. Whether you're in the stadium, tailgating, or watching from the comfort of your home, get ready to satisfy your sports cravings with Chris Joseph on Sports Bites. Let's dig in.
And a beautiful Tuesday evening to you, everybody. Again, welcome into another episode of Sports Bites. Pull up a chair. Let's have some conversations, guys. There's a lot to talk about. First off, I want to get into, you see the socials right down here. If you're watching on YouTube, Twitter, X, whatever, you see all the socials where I have Sports Bites Podcast. On X, at Sports Bites Pod 1. We're streaming live there as well. On TikTok, you can follow at Sports Bites Pod. Usually do a poll of the day question, try to get interacting with people. On YouTube, please subscribe to the Sports Bites Podcast page. All right, at Sports Bites Podcast. And also follow on Instagram, Sports Bites Podcast. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But, really before we get going into anything, we got breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Breaking news within the hour. 4th of July is not going to be the same, guys. 4th of July is not going to be the same. You know why? Joey Chestnut will not be allowed to participate in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. It's always one of those things. It's a slice of Americana, right? The Nathan's hot dog eating contest. It's a little gross when you're watching people like Joey Chestnut hammer 62 hot dogs in that amount of time. But I guess now there's a whole underworld of competitive eating and guidelines and everything. And Joey Chestnut has released a statement on his Twitter page saying that he felt, great choice of words, he felt gutted when he found out he's not going to be able to compete. The 16-time national hot dog eating champion will not be at Nathan's this year. Now, he's saying it's because he doesn't have a contract with the Major League Eating, but they've also come out and said, here's what's funny, because Joey Chestnut chose to be represented by a company that sells plant-based hot dogs. So a whole crazy thing going on in the world of competitive eating. And we always got to talk about food here on Sports Bites. It's about sports, it's about food, and Joey Chestnut is not going to be at the Nathan's hot dog. So I wonder if the Black Widow is going to win. She's always been up there. You don't have Kobayashi anymore. But yeah, that was breaking news coming out that Joey Chestnut is not going to be able to participate in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Now I've seen some people come out, they're banning Nathan's. We're not going to eat Nathan's hot dogs. No more hot dogs from Nathan's. They're still hot dogs, man. They're probably all coming from the same place. Hot dogs are hit or miss for me. There's certain times hot dogs are really, really good. If I'm at a ball game in the summer, got a cold beer, got a hot dog, a little bit of mustard, ketchup, relish, I'm good. At home, make the sloppy chili cheese dogs. Everything's good, right? It's good. Good. But again, welcome into Sports Bites, everybody. Pull up a chair. If you have something you want to drink on, feel free to drink on that. Hop in the chat. Let's conversate. Let's have a good time. It's a lot we're going to get into today. A lot of sports we're going to get into. I'm going to talk a little bit about the College World Series in baseball starting in Omaha on Friday. So we'll talk about college baseball. I am going to get into a little bit of college softball just because the firestorm that the University of Oklahoma softball team creates. And I try to stay away from internet trolls and getting involved in some stuff, but I couldn't this time. But we'll talk about that. Also, we're going over Athlon Sports has released its SEC preseason first team all-SEC teams for offense and defense. Now, surprise. And why do I care about it? Obviously, being an Oklahoma guy, but the SEC is where it's at. Oklahoma and Texas coming in this year. Big deal. We'll go over the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Let you know where Athlon Sports has people ranked for the first team. Also, a new game called Would You Rather. It's where I'm going to pit two professional players in football against each other, right? And I'm going to ask you, would you rather have this person or this person in their prime on your team? We'll keep that going throughout the year. We'll have some college football. Would you rather? Also, being that it's Sports Bites, we're going to talk food. This one, it may upset some people because I know there's some people that are very, very, very particular about their fast food breakfast. I'm rating the my top six breakfast fast food items. We're not talking about going to the Waffle House, fast food restaurants. You hit the drive-thru, you get something quick, grab, go. We're going to go over the top six fast food breakfast items. All right. Also, I got to talk a little bit. The Madden cover came out. We're going to talk about the Madden cover. All the talk about the college football game. I think Madden's taking a back seat this year because of NCAA 2025 that's coming out. I'm in the process of trying to get a console myself so I can play the damn game. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll talk about the Madden cover. Get your thoughts in the chat. Like, what was your favorite Madden cover? I still love when John Madden was on the cover. When it's Madden football, and I love John Madden on the cover. The Madden curse happened. Peyton Hillis, guys like that. Matt Henry. Hey, what's up, Matt Henry? How you doing, sir? Good evening to you. Hope you're doing all right on this fine Tuesday evening. Perhaps a casket on your picture, man. I hope everything's okay. But hope everything is all right. We'll talk about the Madden cover. I'm also going to talk, the schedule. So SEC stuff came out, and a lot of the SEC was. And I have a question for football fans out there. Now, when I was in the radio business, and it hasn't stopped, I've heard a lot of people always complaining about specific kickoff times. Now, the University of Oklahoma and Texas always played at 11 o'clock the majority of the times. I get it. It's a safety thing more than anything, because at the Texas State Fair, wax cut beers, you get people drinking all day, it could get a little crazy. That's why there will never be a night game at the Cotton Bowl with OU and Texas. Somebody would die. It just would happen. But it comes out now that they're releasing all the different schedules. We'll really dive into it probably in the next week. Next week, I plan on having the managing editor from Vols report on. We're going to talk a little bit about Tennessee football. Josh Heupel coming back to Oklahoma. That's going to be Oklahoma's first official SEC game in conference. They're going to do some things to honor Josh Heupel. Somebody else said, you ain't lying. Yeah. But believe me, I've been there numerous times. And it's always fun talking about the Texas State Fair and that Oklahoma game, guys. When you win, you've got all day at the State Fair to do whatever you want to do. And the winning team always has run of the fair. Now, in that, I was a type, and I'll say for me, when I was in the radio business, now my day was a long day at football games, right? So say Oklahoma, when I was covering them, if they had an 11 o'clock game, I had to be on campus corner by 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. The reason why is I wasn't stupid. I was double dipping, right? Not only was I doing on-air stuff, I was the on-site technical engineer. So I was setting up all the equipment. I was making sure I was getting paid. So I'd have to get there because they locked the streets down there on Campus Corner. We always did a 3-hour pregame show that would start 4 hours before the game started. So if the game kicked off at 11, that means we went on the air at 7 o'clock in the morning. Usually from a sports bar. O'Connell's out there, one of the great legendary sports bars. Balfour Norman, a great clothing place. That's where we'd go. But I know a lot of fans are pissed off about 11 o'clock games. And I'll ask, why? For me, now again, I was working, so I couldn't enjoy tailgating like I wanted to now that I can. But I couldn't enjoy tailgating. So it was like, get in, get the game done, We did 2 hours of post-game radio after the game. And so by the time we were done with post-game, I could be back home watching the evening game, writing my article up, my little synopsis of the game. It was good. Now it's come out. I think Oklahoma only is going to have 2 11 o'clock games this year. And I think it's Ole Miss, which I'm going to that game. Since I live in Birmingham, it's not far from Oxford. I'm going to go up to Oxford. I'm going to have me a good time. Hotty toddy, gosh almighty, we're going to party in the Grove. Grand piano, chandeliers. We're going to have a good time. I've already got tickets for the Auburn game. That's a flex game, I think, is what I saw. OU Texas is going to be at 2:30 this year, and we'll kind of break into it. But it's I've never understood the people that were pissed off at 11 a.m. kickoffs. I've never understood it. If there's a fan out there that you can explain why 11 a.m. games are not your favorite, cool. I mean, and everybody has their personal preference. But for me, when I was working games, sure, now that I'm not technically working at games, we're getting there. I'd love to go to a tailgate. Like Oklahoma playing LSU this year in Baton Rouge, I promise you that's going to be a night game. I promise you. The corn dogs are going to be liquored up. They're going to have a good time. Something about less tailgating, but for TV, I like it earlier football. Yeah, and like I said, that part I can understand, because that's one of the great things that makes college football so dynamic is the fact that you have the tailgating. Early on, a couple of episodes ago, I ranked what I thought was the top 6 college tailgating atmospheres. Now, I haven't been everywhere, but I've had the opportunity to go to a lot of places, talk to a lot of people. You read a lot of stories, stuff like that. But less tailgating. And that's one thing I've tried to tell my Oklahoma fans, my Oklahoma people that I know, y'all better get ready. You can say what you want to say, but y'all are coming to the South, and it's a whole different ballgame. When you come to Oxford, when you come to Jordan-Hare, step on, you see Auburn play, and Auburn may not be a good team this year. We don't know. There's a lot of up in the air about Auburn and Oklahoma, but you don't know. That's a tough place to play. Go to Kentucky. Go to the Commonwealth. There, Mark Stoops has those people believing in him, rooting for the Kentucky Blue. Go Big Blue, right? I mean, Tennessee, Bama, Georgia. The only one, sorry, Vandy. The only one I think is not Vanderbilt's not an intimidating atmosphere. Sorry. South Carolina, bouncing up and down, sandstorm to root. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait. They have the Cuckaboos, right? At South Carolina, it's the train where you can tailgate through. There's like a 24-car train sitting outside the stadium. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And I get that. And it's like, I guess it became like a badge of honor. If your game was a primetime game, you felt slighted if you were an 11 o'clock game. Some people felt that way. I never felt that way. My thing is you only had a finite number of home football games in college football. Just go and have a ball, guys. Tailgate, have a couple beverages. Do what you want to do. Do what you want to do. Now, I do remember, so mid-2000s, Florida State came to Norman to play. And down on Lindsay Street, where a lot of the tailgates are set up, there were some Florida State people. And this one old boy got hang-knuckle, tore down drunk. So much so they left him in his chair at the tailgate. His friends came into the game. It was a blowout. Oklahoma was routing Florida State that time. They all left early. He was still asleep. They loaded him up in the van, took him back to Tallahassee. Yeah, it's crazy, crazy, crazy. Now, I'm going to go on my little rant now, so just bear with me. I'm going to go on my rant. As you see over to the side, if you're watching live anywhere, the Oklahoma softball team did something spectacular this year. Not a lot of people thought they were going to do it. You didn't have Jordy Ball. You got Kelly Maxwell to come in from Oklahoma State. But this group of seniors, they had everyone, they lost to Sirius. They lost to Texas. They lost to Oklahoma State. 2 fantastic softball teams. Okay. Oklahoma finds a way to make it to the national championship game against Texas. For the second time in 3 years, Oklahoma's playing Texas in the Women's College World Series out in Oklahoma City. And I've talked about it before on the show. I love the event. I got to do play-by-play in the 2013 season for the Oklahoma women's softball team. That was the year that Oklahoma beat Tennessee. And, I mean, it became a very, very I love it, right? So, but what I started to notice the last couple years, and I don't get it, and usually I stay away from it, the absolute hate and just vinegar and venom, just hate for the Oklahoma softball team. Yes, those girls won back to back to back to back. Never been done. Never been done. The common thing is, oh, home field advantage.
So shut up, bitch.
Miss me with that. Oklahoma State's been there. They're not getting it. But when I see people attacking the players, calling them classless, calling them disrespectful, calling them, just everything under the sun. And it's both men and women. And I usually try to stay away from it. Like, I don't want to get involved in the keyboard tough guy stuff and stay away from it. But there were some I couldn't. There was a guy on a post who said something like, maybe you need to check him for steroids. I'm like, really? Are you that insecure with yourself? You're upset because they're a better athlete than you? And I don't understand that. And then I had a woman that I guess I checkmated her ass into where she deleted the comment. She was talking about how disrespectful and all these people for the love of the game, the unwritten rule stuff. Shut up with that. Now, go back and listen to Coach Gasso. They asked Coach Gasso about it. And the way she said it was, look, there's sometimes I wish they weren't as gregarious as they are. She said, I had to learn how to coach this team to let them unapologetically be them. Now they want to say that this lady said that they were cheating. She tried to talk about the play earlier when Jada Coleman, kind of stood up and didn't get out of the way. Should have been interference. You know what I was told at the shortstop, second base? Someone's running the pass. Throw the ball through her chest. The ball hits her, then it's going to be interference. She's got to make that effort. I don't always agree with the umpires, but with instant replay, the umpires, 4 umpires on the field, and knowing Coach Gasso like I do, I can say I know her. If one of those girls did anything that she felt was detrimental to the game, detrimental to the team, she would not be playing. And this lady who I had a back and forth with, and I was trying to be respectful and like, hey, we're not going to change each other's minds. That's fine. But don't try to, she's trying to say that Jada Coleman got hit with a pitch and was flailing around and flopping on the ground. No. Now, the other interesting part is that there was a sports psychiatrist that came out and talked about it specifically, saying that the way they get really excited over the small things, building, whether they threw a bat down because they got a walk, it's one of the reasons a lot of people don't like Tennessee. Tony Vitale, those guys playing in the College World Series, people don't like them because it's a lot of the same things, pimping home runs, whatever you want to call it, these old timers and the unwritten rules of the game. And, they got to be unsportsmanlike. There's nothing unsportsmanlike. I said, you're confusing passion with unsportsmanlike ability. And I think it amazes me how many people get so triggered. How many people that don't understand. And I'm like, those girls work hard. I mean, think about some of the statistics. 254 games, they only lost 15. They were never run ruled. They were never shut out. But they run ruled almost half their opponents, and they shut out almost half of their opponents. It's not going to be done again in college softball. And I'm sorry, people want to say because you're there. Oklahoma hasn't won it every year. Yeah, they won it 4 years in a row. The upper deck you're seeing there on the screen, that was built since I was gone. All right. But again, Oklahoma City's put in the money, has done what they needed to do. Texas fans, you can be pissed all you want. Patty Gasso came out there with the number 5, the number 4, the number 3, then the number 2, and the number 1 pitchers just to mess with y'all. But I even told the lady that I was getting in, and again, I try to stay away from. I don't like getting into these keyboard tough guy arguments because people would say, well, some pretty, out of pocket stuff, right? And I was like, look, I get it. Nobody likes them because they're winning so much. Nobody liked the Patriots. Nobody liked Alabama. I get it. They're at that part. They're the Death Star, and people want them to fail. People want them to lose. But again, don't attack the women that play this game to try to make them unsportsmanlike, unclassy players. Oklahoma leads, and I may not be the most religious person in the world, but Oklahoma and their players lead post-game prayer circle with the opposing team. They talk. They get emotional. It's an emotional game. We're playing for national championship. And I told the lads, look, if you won 3 national championships in a row, you'd be a little cocky too, right? Right. You'd be a little cocky too. I don't buy into it. I don't get it. I'm at a loss for words that some of the stuff that I've seen said about the girls on this team, the guy that I got to argue with said, "Oh, don't worry about it. They're probably transgenders." And I'm again, keyboard tough guys. You say what you want to say behind the safety veil of your keyboard, knowing that these girls right here are probably a hell of a lot better athlete than you are. I mean, AJ Hester, what's up, AJ? But and I digress talking about it. It really chaps my ass because, again, I had an opportunity to get to know a lot of the girls that were on the softball team when I was working with them, and I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I don't really like it, but it's not up to me. But the other College World Series starts, right? Bam. 8 for Omaha. First time ever it's been split down the middle. 4 SEC, 4 ACC. Georgia faltered on the last day. Condit, ended his career at Georgia with a home run. I think he had 33 home runs on the year this year. That's absolutely crazy. But there's some great matchups. It's going to start on Friday. Friday night, that main one, number 1 Tennessee against number 8 Florida State. I'm here for it. Virginia, North Carolina, 2 classic teams. Honeycutt for North Carolina is an amazing talent. Texas A&M, I really couldn't care less about Texas A&M. They can falter. They can fall off. They can.
So shut up, bitch.
They can shut up. Don't ever root for a team that has no female cheerleaders. But the reason I like the College World Series, now, today is actually the 30-year anniversary of, I've talked to people about that Oklahoma team that beat Nomar Garcia-Pera, Jason Veritek, Jay Payton, that Georgia Tech team, right? Omaha, great place. Rosenblatt was awesome. But now what's become a part of Omaha is Roscoe's. Roscoe's Pizzeria and Cantina, because we all saw this. We all saw that last year, right? Rocco's Jello Shot Challenge. Now, what Rocco's does is they charge $5 per Jello shot. $2 of each shot goes towards that school's food pantry. Last year, LSU they were off the chain. 68,888 shots. Now, if I'm Tennessee, if I'm Stanford, if I'm Virginia, I'm a little embarrassed that Oral Roberts actually bought more shots than you. Just saying. Florida's back. TCU's not there. Wake Forest isn't there. Oral Roberts, LSU, Stanford not. So who's going to be the team this year? Who's going to get it this year, right? Florida State, Virginia, North Carolina, Florida, Tennessee, A&M, Kentucky. I'm going with Kentucky. If they're in the tournament, they're going to be buying some shots. That's just what I think. I think Kentucky is going to dominate this. You saw Florida didn't amount to, Florida had what? 4,000 shots. Tennessee had 20. And now I know a lot of it depends on if you go 2 and Q, you get bounced out, you're heading to the house. I get it. Your fans aren't going to stay there. LSU, obviously the national champion last year. They were partying, but it's good food. Good food at Rocco's Pizza and Cantina. It's for a good cause. I think they donated back, I want to say the figure was right around $200,000 to the team's food pantries last year, right? And I'm a huge fan of it. But I wonder, like I said, if I look at this year, Florida State, Virginia, North Carolina, Florida, Tennessee, A&M. I'll go NC State, but not to beat LSU. Oh, I don't know if anybody else can beat LSU's numbers. 68,000 shots. I mean, I'm not a mathematician, so I'm going to have to pull up my calculator here. Let's just say 68,000 times 5. That's 340 grand spent on shots. Whew. They were the corn dogs were very well lubed up for that whole thing. I mean, obviously it's one of the best pitchers in the country going. You win. Speaking of LSU, their former coach Maneri now taking over at South Carolina. It looks weird seeing him in the garnet and black, and he was LSU for so long. But it's good to see him. It's good to see him back in the game. But that starts Friday. As far as the College World Series goes itself, the matchups I would love to see, for me, I would love to see Tennessee and North Carolina square off. North Carolina State has played good. You beat a really good Georgia team. Kentucky. A&M they always seem to get there, but never do what they need to do, right? Never do what they need to do. I think if I had to pick right now, the way they're playing, I'd probably go North Carolina to win the national championship. My guess, and I could be completely wrong. Florida State's playing extremely well. They hung up a couple touchdowns and some field goals on UConn in that first game of the series. That's where Oklahoma would have been if they'd have beat UConn. So I'm kind of glad they didn't take them L's like that. But little bourbon right there. But we're going to take a short timeout. When we come back, we're going to get into the Athlon SEC, All-SEC team. We're going to get into offense and defense, right? So they did a good job of really kind of piecing this together. And it kind of caught me off guard, some of the people on the list. But we're going to show you how. We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll be right back here on Sports Bites, part of the Dogs Network.
On the College Football Dogs website, you'll find a main page that features some of our biggest and newest stories. Our conference pages for content related to your favorite team's conference. Our team store, where we have products that are available all year long, as well as gear available for a limited time only. Our podcast page, where you can see when one of the 12-plus College Football Dogs podcasts is streaming live on social media. Our subscription page, where you can join our Discord. If you're interested in becoming a contributor at College Football Dogs, email us at info@collegefootballdogs.com. If you enjoy any College Football Dogs content, we really do appreciate any donations you can make by visiting the donate page on our website or scanning the QR code here.
Malo is my French bulldog. He made my heart bigger when he came in my life. He never really liked his food. He wouldn't eat till like 10 o'clock at night. To me, it was saying, oh, I guess I don't want to starve. He was having skin breakouts, and putting the two and two together, what you put into your body is what you get out. I know that if I'm eating a bunch of processed food, I'm not going to feel good.
Yeah, the farmer's dog, man. You got to take care of you. I got my boy, we took him for a walk today, getting ready to be close to 11 years old. Take care of your dog. And food's a big part of it. I changed his food, and, man, it's really done him some good. But welcome back to Sports Bites. You saw and heard during that quick commercial timeout the College Football Dogs. I want to say a big congratulations to the guys in charge. I mean, Hunter and Colin, 1 year anniversary already. And there's a lot of stuff coming, guys. There's a lot of stuff coming. I can't talk about it, all of it right now. I can't talk about but just know that the College Football Dogs, they're knocking on the door. All right. Trying to bring media back to the fans. We're going to have a good time. We got people that are going to be all over the place. One of our writers, Alex, is going to be in Las Vegas for Big 12 Media Day. We're going to be at games. It's going to be a lot of fun. But 1 year in, and what this company has already done, you guys just need to stay on the lookout for what's happening at the College Football Dogs. But I can say that I do a couple things there. I'm very fortunate they gave me the opportunity to be a writer. So I love writing and covering, all kinds of sports. I split the SEC down the middle with a guy. I got 8 teams. He's got 8 teams, doing some breaking news and stuff. Really enjoying covering the sport again and being passionate, talking about it. But again, you see my socials all down here on X at Sports Bites Pod 1. Follow on Twitter. On TikTok at Sports Bites Pod. Subscribe on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe, guys. Just click the button, subscribe. We got a lot coming. I got a lot of guests coming up for football season. Like I mentioned, the managing editor from Vol Report is coming on next week. Talk a little Tennessee. We're going to get into it. But I want to say thank you to everybody that's helped support the College Football Dogs and everybody that's hopped in and chat. We had, Sunbelt City said, Honeycutt is a man on fire right now for UNC. The walk-off shot he hit against West Virginia was an absolute bomb. And I felt bad. And Randy Mazey, I'll say this. I got to know Coach Mazey because Oklahoma City hosted the Big 12 baseball tournament for a long time, kind of like Hoover did here. And it was that 2013 Big 12 tournament that there was a huge tornado that hit more, people died, stuff like that. Coach Mazey and the West Virginia Mountaineers baseball team went out to like Walmart, local stores, and were getting water, clothes, and stuff for kids, doing everything. Great guy. But he had made it clear that he was going to retire at the end of the year. Coach Mazey's always done one of the most beautiful stadiums out there, the West Virginia Baseball Stadium. Absolutely beautiful. But their pitcher is pitching his tail off, playing so well, gives up the home run to tie it up, and then Honeycutt comes up and just absolutely launches a moonshot. And North Carolina, wins that game. They win the second game on to Omaha. So that's going to be the end of Coach Mazey's career at West Virginia. He's retiring. Him and his wife, Rhonda, she did a lot of stuff for like the Mountaineers TV network, and she was always a big part of it. But, tip of the hat to Coach Mazey. Thank you for everything, for doing it the right way. Great guy. Unlike Pete Hughes, sorry, people taking shots at Joe Castiglione in a press conference. Well, he's the only someone asked about his AD, and he's like, well, he's the only AD that at least I don't have to set an appointment to talk to him. I'm sorry. Joe Castiglione is a mover and a shaker. All right. You weren't doing your job. Why would he make time for you? Glad you're gone. I digress. Let's get into some SEC football talk, right? Athlon came out with their all-SEC first team. And you look up and down here, Carson Beckett, Georgia. Again, I don't have a problem with that. I don't know. It probably came down to the 3 that were probably up there, and I didn't look at the second team or third team, but you probably had Carson Beck, Jalen Milroe, Quinn Ewers, whatever position you put them 2 and 3, right? Running back, very tough. Trevor Etienne, Jarquez Hunter from Auburn. They're both going to be extremely dynamic, going to be important. I think Etienne is going to have a big year for Georgia. I think he's going to have a huge year for Georgia, better than he did at Florida. Luther Burden, great receiver at Missouri. Now, I'm not a fan of Drinkwitz. I think, again, Missouri to me is a paper tiger, pumping their chest about they beat Ohio State when Ohio State, I think, had 3 starters playing in that bowl game. Well, we'll see. They rode high on that Kansas State victory. They still can't win games that they're supposed to, or people, that kind of gets you over the edge. And I'm not a fan of Drinkwitz. Never have been, never will be. Ole Miss, 2 receivers, Juice Wells, Trey Harris. And that's why I think Lane is going to be dangerous this year. Because then you also have free-scoring tight end who's going to be dangerous. So with Jackson Dart, Harris, Wells, Caden the tight end, like this Ole Miss offense is going to be potent. It's going to be fun to watch. Now, I say that it's going to be fun to watch. It probably won't be fun in that game in October when Oklahoma comes to Oxford, but we'll see. Now, the offensive line, there's Kelvin Banks Jr. for Texas, a large human being. Tyler Booker from Alabama, Tate Ratledge from Georgia, Will Campbell from LSU, and Emory Jones from LSU. And again, I have no problem with any of these picks. And if you're following this, if you think somebody was left off first team that should have been first team, let me know. Who do you think should have been the first team quarterback? I think Carson Beck was the right choice. I do. I would probably, people are going to, I know Texas fan, it's nothing to do that's Texas. If I was ranking them, I would have Carson Beck, Jalen Milroe, then Quinn Ewers. Now, it's surprising, Oklahoma's known for their offense, no Sooners up there. I think a lot of that has to do with people still unsure about Jackson Arnold at quarterback. There's some talent. You might see a couple receivers up there. We'll see, barring injury. But overall, I've got no problem with this list. You? I mean, Luther Burden, all purpose. You had to find a place for Luther Burden. He is that good. Isaiah Bond from Texas is that good. Right? Now, let's go to the defensive side of the ball. This is where I was surprised. And not surprised that a lot of the guys that were on there, what I was surprised about, there's 2 Sooners on there. I would not, now again, we'll go down the list. James Pierce Jr. at Tennessee, wrecking ball. Landon Jackson, game changer. Deion Walker, game changer. Nick Score, I need to see him perform on a consistent basis. Walter Nolan at Ole Miss, going to be a problem. Mikael Williams at Georgia, fantastic linebacker. Harold Perkins Jr., I think, would like to have a bounce-back year from last year. Not as good as the freshman season at LSU. But then there's Danny Stutzman from Oklahoma. Athlon, now getting into Athlon. Athlon preseason All-SEC defensive player. Linebacker in the SEC. That's a huge tip of the hat to Danny Stutzman. Huge tip of the hat. Now, I think Oklahoma defensive is going to be a lot better. We'll get into that later on as we get closer to the beginning of football season. But I think Oklahoma is going to be better defensively. But Danny Stutzman coming in there as a SEC preseason first teamer by Athlon, that's huge. That's huge. Then you go to the secondary. Maxwell Hairston, Kentucky. I don't have a problem with that. Malachi Moore. Cool. Malachi Starks from Georgia. Phenomenal player. Jada Barron from Texas. I'm holding judgment on Texas' secondary. I want to see Texas, they play Michigan early. I don't think Michigan's really going to test them down the field. But you go back and watch like that Oklahoma game last year in the playoffs. The secondary, I apologize. The secondary had some holes in it. And I think that's if I'm a Texas fan, that's what I'm worried about this year. I think offensively, they're going to find ways to score. Sark does a good job. The secondary is what's going to surprise me. But then there's Billy Bowman from Oklahoma. Again, great. He's coming back. He's been one of the leaders on the team. He's dating Jada Coleman on the softball team. He's probably getting tired of seeing that she's been on SportsCenter a lot more than him. Of course, he's the one that had the game-saving touchdown, pick 6 against BYU. He's going to be a big leader. But again, look at the 2 positions. You got a linebacker and a defensive back from Oklahoma on the All-SEC first-team defense. Now, again, you got to go out and play. It's just preseason. They could go out and get hurt. Who knows? Knock on wood. You never know. But I know, like, the Street and Smith, Lindy's, all those magazines are getting ready to all come out, which I can't wait to go through, thumb through them all and really get into it. But, whew, man. So I mentioned earlier, there it is. Christian McCaffrey. I know AJ, my boy who chimed in earlier, he's a huge 49ers fan. Huge 49ers fan. There's Christian McCaffrey. That's the deluxe edition cover. He is the cover guy for this year's Madden game. Now, again, EA Sports really trying to bundle stuff. I think they had like a $170 bundle that got you NCAA and Madden 25. I think Madden 25 is going to take a hit this year. I don't think it's going to be bought as much. I don't think it's going to be played as much as EA, but there you go. There, I mean, and let's go back. And I put the question out there to everybody that's in the chat. If you're watching, wherever you're watching from, what was your favorite Madden cover? Is the AJ, is the curse still a thing? You know, buddy, man, you go back and they had that string for a long time to where it really was. People got into, they got hurt, McNabb, those guys, Sean Alexander. It was crazy. But there's Christian McCaffrey. He is the guy, right? He's the guy, the Madden cover. Now, I always liked the Peyton Hillis cover just because he had that kind of that bulldog face mask was cool. I was a big fan of the Madden covers just because John Madden was John Madden, He was one of the best. You go back and watch films of him with John Facenda and NFL Films talking about Madden, listening to him break down games. It's awesome. Michael Vick's cover was pretty cool. I think the first dual cover with Larry Fitzgerald on it was really cool. But this one's good. This one's good. I like it. But now it's time we're going to play my game. All right. This game is called Would You Rather. I'm going to pick two players in a position. And I'm going to ask you, who would you rather have on your team? If you were in control in their prime, who would you have? Who would be your guy between Nick Chubb or Josh Jacobs at their prime? Now, I bring you this. Both of them right around 5'10", 5'11". Josh Jacobs is listed at 5'10", Chubb at 5'11". Jacobs at 225, Chubb at 227. Now, their best season, both of them had their best season in 2022. Josh Jacobs, 340 carries for the Raiders, 1,653 yards, 4.9 yards a carry, 12 touchdowns with a long of 89 yards. Not very good receiving out of the backfield, right? Not a lot of production out of the backfield. Now, Nick Chubb, his best year was 2022 as well. Played 17 games, just like Josh Jacobs did. 302 carries. So he had 38 less carries, 1,525 yards. He was right at a 5.1 yard clip, 12 touchdowns as well. He contributed a little bit more offensively in the passing game. So now I ask you, would you rather have Nick Chubb or Josh Jacobs at their prime for your team? Both guys have good pedigree. Josh Jacobs coming from Alabama, Nick Chubb from Georgia. I mean, it's a good pedigree. Both very similar. But I think if I had to choose, and it's hard because I got to watch Josh play in high school when he was in Oklahoma. One of the guys I covered for the 247 Network. Love Josh Jacobs. Love that he's worked himself into. Now, I don't like that he's out there spouting this crap about that you can't wear green to this game in Brazil, because now it's coming out that he's full of shit about that. So just calm down. But in this case, would I rather have Nick Chubb or Josh Jacobs? I go Nick Chubb. Now, the next one, it'll be interesting to see what people feel on this one, right? Would you rather, at their prime, CeeDee Lamb or Justin Jefferson? A little bit tougher. Both of them 6'2". Both of them right around 200 pounds. Justin Jefferson was hurt last year. His best season was 2022, 128 catches, 1,809 yards receiving, 8 touchdowns. Him and Kirk Cousins had that dynamic going, right? Boom, 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 boom. CD, His best game or best season was this year, 2023. 135 catches, 1,748 yards, 12 touchdowns. So I ask you, for those out there in the chat world, if you're watching, listening, who would you rather have as their prime on your football team? CeeDee Lamb or Justin Jefferson? Everybody knows CeeDee Lamb snatching the second phone from the girl during the draft. That was a big funny thing. Jefferson bringing the gritty into everybody's world. My son has a Justin Jefferson jersey. We put his name on the back. He likes the gritty out there, have a good time. But man, going through this, this is how I'll break it down. I think Jefferson has more flat out speed. But as far as route running and catching contested balls, I like CD better. I think CD overall is a better receiver. I may be wrong. That may be my homerism coming out, but both similar, pretty damn good. But that is would you rather. We'll have some more coming up as we head into the college football season, as we head into the NFL season. So what's wowzers, AJ? What's wowzers? That I would take CD over Justin? They're both great. But I wanted to make this to where it's difficult for people to look at. I didn't want it to be an easy thing, right? Really decide, because if you look at them, very similar. Physical attributes, stats. Now, I feel Justin Jefferson is faster flat out, but I think CD's a better route runner. So for me, I would take CD. I got to, man. I got to. Now, and here's the thing, too. It'll be interesting to see what happens to Jefferson with J.J. McCarthy as a quarterback now. It'll be interesting. I don't know how good J.J. is going to be in the NFL. Who do you like over Cousins and Dak? That is a great question. Dak at one point, a lot more mobile. I've got the love for Kirk Cousins, the whole, do you like that when he was at Washington? But again, both of them have faltered in the playoffs, right? Minnesota losing to the Giants a couple years ago when they were the best team in the NFC, inexplicably. Now Cousins got hurt. He said the Falcons. It's a great question. Right now, if I had to pick right now, I'd probably take Cousins. Just Dak seems to not – he crumbles in the postseason. Now, he's had more opportunities than Cousins. I'll give him that. He's had more opportunities to make it to the playoffs and do things. But he's also – look, and I know that's a tough position, right? I'm a Washington fan. I lived in Oklahoma, close to Dallas. I've been to the Dallas Cowboy quarterback. That position carries a certain cachet to it, right? You're the center fielder for the Yankees, a guard for the whatever. The Dallas Cowboy starting quarterback, that position holds a lot. People call him America's team, ton of fans, but he's not lived up to it. Jerry Jones stuck by him. But me, I would take probably Cousins. Healthy, in the prime. If I got everything, I'm probably taking Cousins. But, all right, now it's time for my top six. And like I said, I always do top six because everybody's got a top five, a top 10. My touchdown call was given a sixer. And food. Now, this is where I want to see people really get into it, all right? Top six. Breakfast, fast food, entrees. Now, fast food, and when I say this, Waffle House is pretty fast. But I'm talking drive-through, fast food, best breakfast items, hands down. Right? This is my poll. Feel free to comment anywhere you want to on here, right? About how you feel, what you think is the best breakfast out there. I have my opinion. You guys are welcome to yours. But we're going to start number 6, the Jack's Smoked Sausage Biscuit. I was not I was not familiar with Jack's living out in Oklahoma. Now that I'm here in Alabama, Jack's Smoked Sausage Biscuit with a piece of cheese on it. Chef's kiss. Love it. Great biscuit quality. Stays together. Doesn't fall apart like Chick-fil-A. Everybody on Chick-fil-A, I don't know, what about the chicken bit? I'll tell you right now, Chick-fil-A is not on my list because your biscuits suck. Maybe you need to get the Lord more involved to make better biscuits, but your biscuits suck. They fall apart. You bite into them, biscuit dust everywhere. Jack's, I'm all about it, right? I'm all about the smoked sausage biscuit. Now, their steak biscuit's pretty good too. Don't get me wrong. Number 5, and you can laugh at me. Starbucks has this breakfast wrap. It's got bacon, sausage, potatoes, eggs, cheese. I ordered one time going through the drive-thru, me and my wife, and they handed this thing to me, and it felt like a brick. I was like, what? It's hearty. It's good. It hits the spot. I like breakfast burritos. To me, that's the best one. The Starbucks breakfast wrap is really good as far as burritos. Now, I also bring that up to say my number 4, and I miss it because where I live, we used to have a Hardee's Carl's Jr. right down the road. The Frisco breakfast sandwiches, the grilled cheese on the sourdough. I loved Hardee's Carl's Jr. breakfast. Loved it. Hate that it's gone. But that's my number 4, the Hardee's Frisco breakfast sandwich, because it was just so good. My number 3, the Crunch Wrap, man. The breakfast Crunch Wrap. You can get steak, you can get sausage, you can get bacon, but you got that big hash brown in the middle with their little chipotle spot. Yes. I love that Taco Bell has breakfast, and I enjoy Taco Bell's breakfast, especially the breakfast Crunch Wrap. When you get the Supreme, you get a little sour cream, some tomato. Beautiful. Now, my number 2. This monstrosity right here. If you've ever had the opportunity at Carl's Jr. or Hardee's, wherever, to have the ultimate omelet biscuit, you know what I'm talking about. As you see there, it is layer upon layer upon layer of fluffy egg, diced ham, sausage, bacon, cheese. It's like a meat lover's omelet that they fold up and put on a delicate biscuit. I love the ultimate omelet biscuit. That's my number 2. Now, my number 1 may surprise you. Now, number 1, it's not everywhere. Well, it wasn't everywhere. It is now. I had not had it in so long, but I craved it. Then when it was decided to be released, first day I had to get one. Me and my wife, because we were actually going on a trip when it was released that weekend. We went through the drive-thru and we got one. My number 1 fast food breakfast item, the McDonald's steak, egg, and cheese bagel. Come at me. Say whatever the hell you want to say. That is gold. Over the Egg McMuffin, over the bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. That steak with the little grilled onions on it and that little hollandaise sauce, whatever they have. That's my shit right there. That is the steak, egg, and cheese bagel, by far number 1. By far number 1. And I love McDonald's breakfast. Don't get me wrong. The sausage McMuffin, great. The McGriddles, you get the sweet and savory taste. But the steak, egg, and cheese bagel. Oh, yeah, no, it is back. I promise you. I probably averaged 2 a week since they came out. And I'll get even crazier with it. I'll put my hash brown on it. I freaking love the steak, egg, and cheese bagel. And it's so good. I love the steak, egg, and cheese bagel. Like I said, the grilled onions, And you really don't think about that like for breakfast, like having grilled onions and stuff, but that little bit of grilled onion, that little bit of hollandaise sauce, put your hash brown on there. Yeah, I mean, you can't get better than that. But that's my number one. Like I said, number two, the ultimate omelet biscuit from Carl's Jr. Hardee's, because that was a load to eat that. Crunch wrap, love the crunch wrap. Frisco sandwich from Hardee's Carl's Jr. Also the Starbucks breakfast wrap, and then the Jack smoked sausage biscuit. That's my my number one. That's my number one, and I absolutely love it. Now I'm also working part time doing. I'm working as a butcher doing meat cutting for Publix, and I'm going to give you a little insight. I found something out. I love. I've got a grill, I got a smoker. I've talked a lot about it. I put on my page when I was smoking the turkey for Thanksgiving. Everything was great. I love it. Love my smoker. So now that I'm back there and I'm cutting meat, I'm cutting fillets, I'm cutting ribeyes. I watch the Bearded Butcher on YouTube, who has some great stuff out there. But, my wife and I, we love, like steak on the grill, do it up really good. And so I was looking at trying to get something to do for dinner the other night. And one of the guys said, have you ever had a chuck eye steak? I was like, no, man. I usually will spend money on a filet or a T-bone or porterhouse or New York strip, something like that. And he said, try a chuck eye. Comes from the chuck roll, where you get the chuck roast and stuff. And usually you only get like 2 steaks, maybe 3 at it. They call it the poor man's ribeye. All right. Little difference. So, price-wise, I got 2 chuck eye steaks for right around $13. Now, no, I don't get any discounts at Publix. I don't get any discounts there. But they're about $13, $14 for some chuck eye steaks. The same size ribeyes would have been about $35. And so again, I just very simple, very easy. Salt, pepper, garlic. Crank that grill up. It was phenomenal. We got some Argentine red shrimp, had a little shrimp bowl that I made, some homemade Cheddar Bay biscuits, and it was dinner, I mean, it was damn good. But that's my recommendation out there. Those of you who like to cook on the grill, for those of you who like steak, if you've not tried a chuck eye steak, try a chuck eye steak, all right? And you cook it just like, however you want it. Do you want it medium rare? Do you want, I really turned the heat up, got some good sear on it, let it get to just a little bit above rare, let it sit, finish cooking, a little compound butter on it. And it's just as good. I've seen a lot of people with the chuck eyes too, with the chuck eye steak, put it in like a cast iron. And I think you could do some really good work with the cast iron if you know how to do it. Get your base with your butter, your garlic, your thyme, and stuff like that. But yeah, that's my recommendation. Try the chuck eye steaks. You're going to like them. But guys, that's going to do it for me tonight. I appreciate everybody that hopped into the chat. I appreciate everybody that's watched. Please give a follow. Please share. Let's spread the word. For those of you who don't know the college football dogs, start following. All right. There's some stuff coming down that's going to be out before football season starts, and it's getting ready to ramp up. Once you get into July, start getting to media day time, it's really going to start. Oh, the wifey. I love you too, baby doll. She's doing some support showing down there, so I appreciate it. But college football dogs, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity. Hey, also, Colin, those guys, if you're watching, my guy right here, AJ, great writer. He's put in an application. I already asked you guys to give it a look. I'm going to stand up for my guy, AJ, right here. I think AJ needs to be part of the college football dogs. And I think he would do a great job. He's a big Auburn fan, so we can't hold that against him like we did Kenny. But I think it'd be really good to get AJ on here. Smart, really smart. Like when we used to work together, we talked a lot of football, studied coaches, game schemes, plans, stuff like that. So I mean, Colin, you guys, if you're out there listening, Alex, TJ, you guys that are up, look for AJ Hester's application in there. You need to check him out. All right. Told you I'd take care of you, AJ. I believe in you. I think you do great work, man. But again, college football dogs, man, it's going to be a lot of fun. Now I'll say this: get ready for July, because when July comes, that middle of July part, and the college football game is released, I'm going to be having some content because I'm going to play the shit out of that game. I've been waiting 11 years for this damn game to come out, and now it's going to be, it's there. I can't wait. I can't wait, but I'm going to stream it. I'm going to stream live content. I think we're trying to do something with the college football dogs. If you got on and you became part of our Discord, we're probably going to have like tournaments. I could do some broadcasting over it, really get into it. We're going to have some fun, especially with that game and some of the stuff that I've already seen leaked out. I can't wait. But guys, again, for those who jumped in, thank you. For those who helped support, thank you. This is my passion to be able to talk sports with you guys. I love interacting with fans just like I did when I was doing radio. I did a very caller-driven show. I love that. I love talking sports with people. And sometimes we're not always going to agree. But we can have conversation. Unlike some of the trolls I see on the internet. That's the bad thing. Is on the internet, you got to stay away from it. People say some pretty out-of-pocket shit. And, because they feel they have no fear of getting punched in the mouth, right? They have no fear of it. But I love good sports debates when people have articulate comments and they can make their point without name calling and all that stuff. I love it. And that's what I love about this kind of platform right here. So again, guys, give everybody a follow. Follow the College Football Dogs. Go to their website. Follow my podcast, guys. Support it. Get the word out there. Follow on TikTok. I'm doing daily polls. Follow on Twitter. That's where you see the articles that I'm writing. I'm doing a preview of the UFL championship. I think AJ, you had mentioned, if you're still there, brother, I think you mentioned about coming on your podcast to talk about UFL. I'm off on Thursday, man. If you need me to hop on, I'll hop on with you. We'll talk some UFL. Who's Birmingham going to start? That's a controversy right now. AJ Martinez won the MVP, but now people are calling for Matt Corral to be the starter for the Birmingham Stallions as they take on the San Antonio Brahmas, which played a great game here in Birmingham a couple weeks ago. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff to get into though. And football season, it's coming. It's going to be a historic season when you think about the landscape of college football. When you think about the landscape of college football with Oregon, USC, all those people are going to be in the Big Ten now. The Big Ten is going to, and it's not just going to be Ohio State and Michigan. It's not just going to be, there's going to be some competition. Oregon, Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, whew, love it. Give me all of it, inject it right into my veins. Oklahoma, Texas coming to the SEC. I still have Oklahoma as a 7-5, 8-14 until proven otherwise. That's where I have it. But I can't wait to go down to Jordan-Hare, take my kid down there. We got tickets. We're going to be sitting in the Sooner section, take them to Toomer's Corner, get them a lemonade. We're going to have a good time. It's history. It's tradition. College football, we're 72 days away from the start of college football season. I can't wait. Oklahoma plays that Friday against Temple. And it's just going to be cool to see them come rolling out with the SEC logo on that uniform. No more Big 12. See you later. All of the Big 12, you suck. All right. I can't wait for that. And everything in the SEC is going to be better. Football, baseball, basketball, softball. The gymnastics is great. It's all going to be great in the SEC. And for my Oklahoma fans out there, you laugh when I say it just means more. But wait till you come out here and you see. It just means. I also recognize. I didn't realize I was wearing my shark hat tonight. So a little PSA. AJ just said, just means more. Buddy, I've tried to tell my Oklahoma people, you think it's just a saying, you laugh at it. But until you come out here and you see Toomer's Corner, when the Eagle takes off at Jordan-Hare Stadium, when you're at the Grove, when you're in Death Valley at night and those drunk corn dogs are singing Neck, it just means more. Y'all better be ready. I love history and tradition. I love the fact that this thing, no more Iowa State, no more Kansas, no more Oklahoma State. Our schedule now is Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, Lord, it's going to be awesome. Fuck Texas A&M and Missouri. I got tired of them when they're in the Big 12. Two of the most delusional fan bases in all of college football. A&M is probably the most delusional fan base in all of college football. I mean, the last time you won a championship, your head coach was still calling people the N-word, and it wasn't a good. So no, let's not sit here and act like A&M is something great. 77-0. That's all I got to say. Now I will say this: y'all got us when Manziel was quarterback in the Cotton Bowl. But Missouri, you're another team. You had early success when you got to the SEC. You went to a couple SEC championship games. So can't take that away from you. But again, a delusional fan base because of the games last year. And I think a lot of it's perpetrated by Eli Drinkwitz. I think he is a goober. He looks like Rick Moranis from Little Giants every time I see him. I'm not a fan of Drinkwitz. He's got some players. Burden is a fantastic receiver. I don't know now. You bring in Texas, you bring in Oklahoma. I can't wait. Missouri, yeah. It's back on. Do you remember coming to the Big 12 championship game and getting smacked by Oklahoma? You went 0 in basketball this year. Missouri used to be a proud basketball school. When Norm Stewart was the coach, Doug Smith, Anthony Peeler, guys like that, Missouri was a proud basketball school. You just went 0 in SEC ball. Doesn't look good on you. Everybody, have a great night out there. Stay safe. If you're heading to the beach, watch out for the sharks. They're everywhere. Okay. I got to tell you this. I love scary movies. I love shark movies. I love sharks, period. I was a huge, I always wanted to be Jacques Cousteau when I was younger. So the other night, I'm seeing on social media, we're talking about this shark movie, Under Paris. I'm like, all right. I convinced my wife to watch it with me. Babe, you want to watch this movie? She's like, yeah, we'll watch it. Now, it sucked because it was all subtitles, and it was overdone with like horrible American actors, and the voice actors were terrible. It didn't really mesh well. I don't know. It was underwhelming. It was underwhelming, but of course now you look out there with everything, and not trying to make light of it. I know this real seriously got hurt. Just stay vigilant. I know my family's got a beach trip coming up at the end of next week, in Destin, where you see. And I'm telling you right now, I think my wife made a joke about it. The megalodon's out there is forcing all these sharks close because the orcas we were in Destin, which is crazy to think. And orcas they'll kick a shark's ass. They won't play with it. But guys, have a great evening. Be safe. Tell somebody you love them. And remember to always, always positively move forward. Next Tuesday, 8 o'clock, we'll be back.
Thanks for joining us on this delicious journey through the world of sports and food on Sports Box with your host, Chris Joseph. We hope you've enjoyed the game day stories and culinary adventures. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you've got any mouth-watering sports-related tales or favorite game day recipes, share them with us on social media. Until next time, remember, it's not just about the game. It's about the bites that make it unforgettable. Stay hungry for more sports bites.